Hey everybody, my name is Rob Woodbridge from Untethered.tv. What you're about to see here is a short clip of a much longer episode. It can be found on Untethered.tv. So if you really are interested in this, go to Untethered.tv, do a search for this title, and you'll find it there. But enjoy this short clip. Hello everybody and welcome to Untethered.tv. I'm your host and founder, Rob Woodbridge. You know how I love to bring Canadian companies to you because we are very innovative. We're an innovative nation, especially when it comes to mobile. But you know how I even love to bring Ottawa-based companies to you even more because that's my hometown. So we're going to do that today. Josh Garellek, who is the co-founder, the founder of a company called Arctic Empire, and they are creating something called Bet to Win, and that's where we're going to spend a whole lot of time, a game called Bet to Win. We're going to spend a whole lot of time on that right now. I'm bringing Josh in. Josh, welcome, man. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Really, really do, especially because we are in the same city, and there is a lot of talent in this same city. So
appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Well, we've been trying to do this for quite a while, and I'm glad we got to do this. But first, before I want to give you the center stage here. I want you to talk about what it is that you are doing. Arctic Empire. I want you to talk about the structure of that company, and then we're going to talk about Bet to Win in a few minutes. But talk to me about Arctic Empire. Your guys there, and you got a good team.
Yeah, so Arctic Empire, we've scaled down a little bit. We're about 7 people now in the company in the beautiful downtown Ottawa part of the Byward Market. And the company is about 2.5 years old now. And we started off building off some large social simulators for Facebook. And through the process, we realized that, you know what, mobile is the direction we want to go. It is the future, it is the present, it is the now. And it was something that we made a decision to jump heavily into. And at the moment, we have three of our own products out on the market, along with doing some contract works on the side for some other clients. And really, everything is for us is the mobile platforms right now. Predominantly iOS. We do work for Android and other platforms, but we're considered. I like to consider experts in the iOS platform. And so like I said, we have three products out on the market. We have probably about 3 or 4 in the go right now, which is may not be the smartest thing, but we're working in the new year. It's going to be heavily about closing off these projects that we're working on and really focusing heavily on the mobile and social aspects. And our slogan is mobile social games. So that's kind of where we're at the moment.
It's not easy, despite what everybody thinks, it's not easy building a mobile game company. It is not easy. And sometimes, I'll wager, that it's not even fun, right?
There's times where it's pretty hectic, for sure. Yeah. Take, for example, Bet to Win right now. We're going through, an Apple QA process, and there's this feedback coming back, and it's just, you're kind of pulling out your hair, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do at this point?
That's when you start, who do I write money? Who do I write a check to? Like, can we just
clear
this
up?
Right?
Check.
Well, I know, but that's, all of this experience that you guys have gone through leads up to this idea, which is Bet to Win. I mean, you've tested a whole bunch of different things. You've tested, revenue models, and you've tested, marketing models, and you've tested all of these things, and kind of, you land on Bet to Win, which is, I guess the perfect social mashup for betting between friends. Is that a good way to on a mobile version?
You hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what it is. It comes down to, and I don't really call this a game. I would call it more of an entertainment app. Okay, it's actually in the entertainment category because there's gamified mechanics and components to certain things, but outside of betting with your friends, there's not much else to the application, and it is taking the oldest human nature component that happens, the competitiveness that you're thrown into from the time you're born, with your competing for attention from your parents, your brothers and sisters. Look at me, mommy, look what I can do, and look what Billy can't, and blah blah blah.
That never ends, just so you know, right?
It never ends, right? And it's between friends, it's family, business, technology, gaming, everything. Sports is like the biggest example. So what we did is we came up with saying, taking those frivolous bets you make with your friends late at night at the bar, and it's your buddy throws out a ridiculous stat about Apple. He's like, oh, they're going to make $700 trillion, and you kind of you have to call them on that. You have to. And now you finally have a way to do it with Bet to Win. And it's a gamified and socialized mechanic of betting. And you log into the app, it's all tied through Facebook. You have to log in through Facebook and you have to bet your friends on Facebook. So that was kind of also the idea is that here we created all these games that you were playing by yourself, right? There was no multiplayer component. And this is an asynchronous style peer-to-peer gaming mechanic. It's like if I want to use this app, I got to bet somebody else and they then have to download the application to, again, complete the action of the bet. So it's kind of forcing downloads, which was kind of the idea. So, I want to bet you, Rob, right? But you don't have the app, so I notify you, on your Facebook wall or on a private message, hey, you got to download this app. I want to get in on a bet with you. So we're driving downloads. So I think we're going to get quite a few downloads. The question is whether the app is sticky enough for users to come back on a daily basis to keep betting with each other.
Why do you think people need something like this? Like, is it just because, is it your experience? People have told you? Did you go out and do some research on this? Is it a hunch?
I think there's all of the above. Like, definitely, it's something that I've spoken to about with a number of friends and family members, and just I have a group of buddies, and we're constantly just back and forth bantering on different topics. So, and always, and those three words it's just I bet you. They always come out of my mouth, whether it's sports, entertainment, everything. It's always there. So like, why can't there be a way to actually track these bets and tie something to it? So we tied a virtual currency model to it. So you can bet for virtual currency, and of course there's a personal ante, which we're not legal in any way. We're not we're not tracking that. What you guys do, if you want to bet real money, you bet real money. That's none of our business. And then going back to the social mechanic of what we talked about before, is that what's the point of just betting me and you, Rob? Is like you kind of want to get that out to the world and see, show everyone that. And again, it's all driving that competitiveness. It's like, I'm better than Rob at betting, right? So you post that to Facebook and Twitter, and you actually get your friends and you pull them in to the conversation around the bet that you've created, which then again could spawn off into more bets and saying, oh, this person's wrong and someone made a comment here and that whole area. So there's definitely a lot of research that I've put into this. I focus tested this with a number of people. Everyone that I've spoken to absolutely loves the idea. So again, going back to, is the app sticky enough though for getting people to come back on a regular basis to create those bets?
So this is completely tied into Facebook. So you have to have a Facebook account, and you're betting your Facebook friends. So there's two pieces there that authenticate the user at this point. Any of the other games that you've done that are expressly tied into social networks, like because you've had some good success with 80,000 or 100,000 downloads outside of your first game with 200,000 downloads. I mean, have those been tied in socially? Have you experimented with these things?
So Burger Joint is tied to, on Android platform, is tied to Papaya.
Yep.
We did a publishing deal with Papaya, and so there is a social mechanic of, but that's not Facebook. It's their personal social platform. They got about 50 to 60 million users across their network. So
good enough.
So definitely there's.
That's a good enough number.
Yeah, good enough. So again, it was, and we're still getting steadily. We're getting about 100, 110 downloads a day on the Android side of things. So about 3,000 or so downloads a month.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
I want to come back. I'm going to come back to Bet to Win in a second. But I mean, it strikes me you're still getting traction with that game. How are you turning that into revenue? Are you? Is that just a lead gen?
Yeah, we were generating some revenue on that. That was a smaller title. It's this idea of like a puzzler, a Tetris meets Bejeweled type of thing, but you're making burgers. So that's all ad platform revenue or advertising revenue. So we have some banner advertisements and interstitials after a user gets an end game screen. So it's just purely, at the moment, it's just purely ad revenue.
That's it, just ad revenue.
Just ad revenue on it.
So do you ever think about this? This is interesting because you said you have so many projects that are going on, coming in 2013. Like you've got so many things going on the go at the same time. Have you ever considered that that you've got kind of an audience of 80 to 100,000 people with two different games. And have you ever thought, like, okay, so what are the ways that we can turn the revenue on? Just not through advertising, but we've already got an established audience with these guys. They're playing it.
Well, I wouldn't say that there's 80 to 100,000 users across our network. Yeah. You have to look at what are the active users, and then obviously we still know how many people have the game on their phone. So it's definitely not 80 to 100,000, but we got, there's a good chunk of individuals, and we've launched through the Bet to Win launch. We've actually launched an update on all four of other titles. With the first thing that a user comes and sees is like, hey, check out our new app. It's called Bet to Win. And this actually kind of goes into something that we want to do with Bet to Win is actually build out a full-blown SDK for it that other game developers can incorporate into games. So it's like you're playing Angry Birds, for example, and you get 9,000 points on level 27. So why not be able to bet your friend right within the game using Bet to Win's SDK that you can't beat my score? And this can be done on gaming, it can be done on other apps, it can be
sports
done on
apps, anything. Yeah,
sports, anything. So again, that's that's 2013, probably Q3, Q4 if we get there. But
it's like, is that that's an interesting play because opening up an API and getting it integrated into games makes you the nervous system for that part of the game, and what's the competitive landscape for that right now, and then how do you turn that into revenue? I'm focused on revenue. Like, I'm fixated,
Yeah, I understand. Focused on revenue. So at the moment, I don't have all the details on how we're going to kind of turn on the revenue for that. There are a couple of different revenue plays for Bet to Win. One is a virtual currency model, obviously. Yep. Second is, we have a couple of offer walls with Tapjoy, so you can get free coins to continue playing if you fill out offers. Yep. And then phase 2 on it is the analytics, is the data that we're going to be accumulating, and actually being able to, and again, open this up across our network and getting a lot of users, is then going to brands and advertisers and other companies and saying, hey, guess what, guys, we got, I'm going to throw out an arbitrary number, we've got 1 million active users across our network, why not create a sponsored bet? So UFC, for example, is the perfect audience. It's like, George St. Pierre is going to fight Anderson Silva, so 5% of their population probably bet. So they get all that stuff from Vegas lines and sports lines. But what about all the 95% of other fan base that they can't tap into because they're not bettors? Or they wouldn't bet in real money, but they would if it was virtual currency or if it was just a way to kind of get in on the action. So now all of a sudden UFC comes in, they put a sponsored advertisement, which I'm happy to send you, by the way, Robin. I could show you all the graphics for it. It's really cool. And you see a sponsored bet saying, this and this date, live on pay-per-view, George St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva, who do you bet on? All of a sudden, UFC's got all this data that they were never able to access before. And you take it for Starbucks, they're coming out with a new brand of coffee or a new line. So what's your favorite? What would you... And emotion, like betting is emotional. People get really involved in their bets and they don't want to lose. They don't like to lose. So you're getting real, honest, true-to-God feedback. And it could be almost instantaneous, too, is that we can push a global bet or a sponsor bet through our server side instantaneously, whenever it wants to, a push notification. It gets sent out to all the users. And if they feel like this is something they want to get in on, they're jumping in on it, and you get instant, real live, real data in real time.